Good evening, my name is Kacper Paradowski and you're watching Poland Daily News. 10 years ago, on 10th of April 2010, a plane carrying a Polish elite delegation crashed near Smolensk, Russia. 96 people were killed, including President Lech Kaczyński and his wife Maria. The delegation was flying to pay homage to Polish officers murdered by the Soviets in Katyn in 1940. Today in Warsaw and many other places in the country, ceremonies commemorating the Smolensk disaster took place, though they were largely limited due to the coronavirus pandemic. And at 8:41 a.m., the exact time that the Tu-154M plane carrying Polish delegation on board crashed near Severny Airport near Smolensk. This morning at Piłsudski Square in Warsaw, Lech Kaczyński, chairman of the Law and Justice Party, accompanied by Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki and his government ministers, Speaker of the Sejm, Elżbieta Witek, as well as representatives of other authorities, laid wreaths at the monument dedicated to the victims of the Smolensk disaster and the sacred memory of President Lech Kaczyński. The ceremony was modest due to the regulations put in place to battle the coronavirus epidemic. Its participants recited a prayer for the victims of the disaster. At 9:30 a.m., the leader of the Law and Justice Party and Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki placed flowers at the monument to the victims of the Smolensk disaster at the Powązki Cemetery. In the evening, President Andrzej Duda is to give a special televised address on the anniversary of the catastrophe of 10th of April 2010. In an interview with Polskie Radio, Lech Kaczyński paid tribute to his brother, the late President Lech Kaczyński. The Law and Justice chairman said he believes him to be one of the most important figures in the recent history of Poland. Firstly, we had the political party, the Centre Agreement, which supported government of Jan Olszewski, which was appointed by the Centre Agreement, and then we have his influence on the case of Russia's bases in our country, which were to be transformed into corporations and continue their operations, which in turn would prevent Poland from joining NATO. That one is enough to recognize that Olszewski's government was historically successful, and apart from this, he stopped, temporarily, the extremely unfair process of privatization, which was carried out without observing any rules of decency. Then there was his victorious campaign for mayor of Warsaw. Later he won the presidential election, paving for our party's first government and the 2 years it was in power. Those years were difficult, full of complications, but very important. After that came 8 years with the Civic Platform Party power, but Lech Kaczyński continued as president until his death. His policy was international in terms of Polish security, internal in terms of our tradition, historical in terms of strengthening and restoring the memory of the Solidarity movement and of the people. All of this caused Poland to change, even under horrible Civic Platform government. This finally opened the way to our second government in 2015, although at that moment my brother, late Lech Kaczyński, had already been dead for 5 years. However, it was over these 5 years when we won these elections, both presidential and parliamentary. In short, we owe our success to him. This is the premise of his writing into Polish history in a very serious way, as one of the most prominent people of modern Polish history.
Określić i to przede wszystkim jest przesłanka jego wpisania się w polską historię w sposób bardzo poważny.
President Andrzej Duda paid tribute to late President Lech Kaczyński and his late wife Maria at the Wawel Castle in Kraków, where they are buried. After laying wreaths at the presidential couple's grave, President Duda in his speech mentioned that everyone who flew to Smolensk on that tragic day did so from their hearts, because they were great Polish patriots.
Zawsze tutaj byłem przez te 10 lat.
I have been coming here on April 10th every year for the past 10 years. Unfortunately, today we were not able to hold a Holy Mass since it is Good Friday, and we are also dealing with the coronavirus epidemic. This means we cannot hold a proper commemoration ceremony dedicated to the victims of the Smolensk Air Disaster. I came here because I believe that as a person who worked alongside late President Professor Lech Kaczyński and his wife, but also as the President myself, it is my duty to pay my respects to those who so tragically perished. I should pay my respects to the late presidential couple who were buried here at the Wawel Castle, where so many great heroes from our history are buried as well.
10. rocznicy tragedii smoleńskiej oddaniem hołdu tym, którzy wtedy zginęli.
Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro has stated that India is to provide the country with raw materials required to produce large amounts of hydroxychloroquine. Both US President Donald Trump and President Bolsonaro tout the drug as possibly being an important component in the battle against the coronavirus pandemic. The president stated in a televised address that hydroxychloroquine can save lives of coronavirus patients and should be used in the initial stages of COVID-19. Meanwhile, the left-wing opposition encouraged its supporters to protest against the president by stepping out on the balconies to bang on pots and pans. The raw material of the anti-malaria drug is due to arrive from India, following President Bolsonaro's personal intervention on the issue. As a result of my direct conversation with the Prime Minister of India, on Saturday we will receive raw material to continue producing hydroxychloroquine. Brazil's health authorities have so far limited the drug's use to helping seriously ill patients who are being hospitalized. Everyone should be tuned in with me. Always affirm that we had two problems to solve: the virus and unemployment, and that they should be treated simultaneously. I respect the autonomy of the governors and mayors. Many measures, restrictive or not, are their sole responsibility. US President Donald Trump was the first president to ensure that the treatment for malaria could be used as therapy against the coronavirus. That's all for tonight. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for Poland Daily Business. Good night.